Hi guys, welcome back to another week of Art Life. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking about the business side of art.
I'm Jessie. I've been a full-time artist for 10 years and thought it about time I start sharing my painting techniques and adventures. Subscribe to join me every week for a window into my art life.
So as you can see around me, I've gathered all of my artwork into the studio to take an inventory of what I have. A few of you might know that on the 30th of June, I've got my first solo exhibition, hence why I needed to take stock of what I have available, what I need to do, basically just to give myself a bit of perspective with my work, because having it all in one place lets me see what is going on really with every painting next to each other. It's also a good opportunity to take stock, which I don't do enough. The subject of business in art is massive, and there's so many topics we could go into, from how self-employed artists do their taxes, or the relationships that galleries and gallery contracts have on an artist's practice, and percentages of sales that need to go to galleries if an artist is selling a work through a gallery. We could talk about how artists have to do their websites or price lists, or how art can never be decreasing in value. It always only ever needs to increase as an investment. But I think because of the subject of my exhibition coming up, all the things I'm doing at the moment to prepare for this solo show, I think for now I'll just talk about the side of art and business in relation to my solo exhibition and what that means for me. I have a deadline. I need to paint all of my artwork by the end of May at the latest. The exhibition is in June and oil needs a few weeks to dry, so everything has to be dry before the show. So artists and deadlines have always been infamous together, so I'm hoping that this deadline will propel me forward, help me push through painter's block if that creeps up. It'll help me not rush, but give me a sense of mild panic that I make sure I get everything done in time, whereas I thought if I had no deadline I would be far too slow and I wouldn't get anything done. So hopefully this deadline is going to propel me forward. I can only encourage you to give yourself deadlines, like self-imposed deadlines, if you're trying to create work or you're working towards a goal. Getting a calendar and giving yourself days to finish things by is actually like a really helpful tool that I'm beginning to understand. So the exhibition, preparing an exhibition, I wanted to say, why am I doing this exhibition? And for me, it was a personal choice to have, for the first time since I was a student, an entire body of work available to see of my work, where I am, what I've been doing, and to show where I am as an artist now. It's a really amazing opportunity to get photographs, video content, have feedback from the public, from critics of their work. If you can get some art critics and magazines to come to the exhibition, that's going to be amazing. It's to showcase my work, be proud of it, show what I've been doing, and also get some perspective. Other people will have opinions of my work. Some of it good, some of it might be bad. It's all helpful because that viewer is a spectre always in the studio with me. How people will perceive and kind of have a relationship with the work. I don't just paint this for me only, I want to paint it for the world. So getting it out into the world is a key part of the business plan. The benefits, the business benefits for an exhibition. For me, there's three things, which are the creative benefits, the social benefits, and the financial benefits. So the creative benefits are that I have that propelled push to make as much work as I can, to push myself, to expand my skill set, to see how all of my paintings have a relationship with each other. It's a really good diary of where I am as an artist at this point in my career. The social benefits are doing the exhibition for my community, developing relationships with sponsors, maybe people who love my work, aspiring artists, established artists, meeting other creatives in the community. I'll only hopefully develop lots of new relationships, but also I'll be able to talk about my work with other people for the first time after being buried in my studio for like 6 months. Getting out there and talking about your work is so helpful. And finally, the financial benefits, which usually is quite straightforward and transactional in that I can sell my artwork, and with the money gained from a sale, buy more materials and buy more paint and more canvas and keep perpetuating the career I love, which is being a full-time painter. So for this exhibition, what do I need to do next? The big thing today was getting it all in the room and sort of taking stock of what I need to finish. Maybe I don't have enough artwork. We went to the gallery today and I had a look at the space for the first time properly and realised how much bigger it is than I initially thought. The back wall I think is at least 8.5 metres long, and I'm not convinced I have enough work. So I think I'm going to have to do some more big statement pieces to fill the space. And also I need a few more drawings and more domestic kind of sized works. So if people want to buy the work and they don't have massive amounts of wall space, they can still be able to afford something that they can actually fit in their house. So that was a really good thing to do today, to just have a clear idea of what I need to do next. The logistics as well of the show, there's lots I need to do. Van hire, organising the events for the private view, securing sponsorship for the show itself so I can afford to put it together. That's something I'll talk about a little bit later. And also to sort of take stock of what I'm confident about with the work versus what I'm insecure about. This is always a really good thing to do as an artist when you're not around other artists that you can have a critique, where other artists will give you their input, where they think you're doing well, where they think you could improve. Trying to be self-critical in a positive way is a really good business thing to do for your practice, because it often helps you take reflection for your work, to be slightly neutral, which is what I'm doing today. I'm stepping back from my work and I'm being much more neutral about it, not being overly possessive or highly critical. I'm just saying, okay, these work well together. This one looks a bit strange because it's the only one with some figuration in. Do I need to bring more of that into other works? I'm trying to be slightly more analytical and think, how will these works sit in relationship to each other as a body of work? And if you have all of your artwork around your studio, sometimes it's good to just install it like a little mini exhibition and just see how it all speaks to each other, because often you'll pick up on something that you might have missed, which for me is that there's one major problem with my work: the palette. So when I say the palette, it means that I have painted all of these paintings through the winter, and the exhibition I'm doing is in June, on June the 30th. So it's going to be a summer exhibition and all of my paintings will be far too wintry. So my goal now is, between now and the show, to bring in more of the spring and summer palette. And how I will be doing that is, next week I'm off to the Côte d'Azur, the Riviera, to get inspired by the Mediterranean light and the landscapes, and most importantly, the summery palette of colours and vibrancy out there. And hopefully I can come back to the studio next week and bring some of the light and inject some summer vibes into my painting in a way which will work well with all of the different canvases here. So I guess I'll have a seasonal show. I want there to be winter, yes, but spring, summer, joy and fun, so people in the exhibition feel light-hearted and like it's representational of a June evening, which is when my private view will be. An example of some of the summer palettes that I'm starting to think of at the moment are maybe something more turquoise and pink, lots more yellow coming in, lemony yellows, and I'll be playing with different colour palettes over the next few weeks and sharing with you the successes and maybe the failures. I did this one yesterday, and I wouldn't say it is a success or a failure, it was just an experiment. I used a lot more pink, which was really, really fun. The main thing to say is that for the show, I think I should start including more evidence of my brush strokes and gestures, because I realised when I saw all of the work in this room this morning, everything is slightly too airbrushed and almost too overly finished. I quite like the looseness of some of the marks where you can see how paint sits on the surface. That's the mark making, and I love paint itself, and I want the viewer to sort of feel my touch with the paintbrush, just dabs of paint. It doesn't all have to be completely perfect. I think it'd be quite fun, again, to have some bright colours just sitting on the composition. So that's something that I only figured out when I could see all of the work next to each other, and it helped me to see what was missing in my work. So An important aspect of the exhibition business side as well is the sponsorship. Now, patrons of the arts since the time of the Medicis or Ruskin in the pre-Raphaelite era, patrons are always essential for artist practice. Artists happily would bury themselves in the studio just making work forever, but often it's patrons which help artists get out of their studio into the world. Art galleries are also great patrons of the arts, that sometimes gallerists who are really invested in an artist can give an artist confidence. Yes, they help sell their work, but it's not just about the financial relationship, it's about the kind of emotional relationship. One gallery I had when I was fresh out of school took me to art fairs in Battersea, yes, but also just sort of around Europe. Some art fairs will take your work from, England to LA or New York or, Japan, depending on the gallery you have. But they would make your artwork go much further afield than maybe an artist in their studio possibly could imagine. And it's these relationships with different people invested in your work which help it get out of the studio. And often we do need a bit of help, because if, like me, you can be quite self-critical or quite shy with your work, or when somebody wants to buy it, you're almost like, really? That's the natural state of being an artist, because you're putting yourself out there with your work, and having people wanting to buy it, because it is a product, it can be quite transactional and commercial. The commercial art world can be quite intimidating. So having people help you with that is only ever really a good thing. So for me, doing this exhibition, it is a local country exhibition. It's not in London, so I want it to be very personable. It's all about fresh air and vista. It's what I'm going to call the exhibition, Vista. I think I want to make the relationship with the patron that I have, the sponsor, to be a local business, a local energy to come in and collaborate with me with the space. I'll be making a proposal together, putting it together this week, and maybe giving it to a few sponsors and just saying that if they partake of the show, they will have branding and marketing all over everything I do on social media, on posters, but also for the fact that we'll do an event, a private view, where they can invite their clients, they can make it exclusively theirs, to have an opportunity to show the fact that they're supportive of the arts and the arts in the community, their community, and also to have an opportunity to build a relationship, not just with me as an artist, which I'm really looking forward to, but maybe other artists will be at the event. We could maybe collaborate with schools, maybe do an educational event about kind of landscape and nature, the local nature of kind of where we are in Suffolk. I think the interesting thing is, every show is different, every artist is different. I've done exhibitions before in the past where I've had big corporate sponsors help me in bigger cities, and working with a lot of charity exhibitions where sales of artwork would go to charity. And that was more of a CSR, which in the UK is corporate social responsibility, where the companies who were sponsoring the exhibition were doing it to sponsor community and charity. We generated links to raising awareness for the charities we were working with, for the artists that needed our support. We brought in schools and education, and these exhibitions turned into hubs of activity. Loads of things came from them, because collaboration is an energy and it creates new things. New things come from collaboration. So I'm hoping that this exhibition, although it's just me as a solo artist, I'm hoping that all the people that will come, lots of exciting energy will come from that, and the relationship with the sponsor will hopefully benefit them as much as it benefits me, because a lot of sponsors don't know anything about the arts, but they'd love a way into that, to feel like the arts are approachable, not just exclusive for the art world only, that they can have a slice of the art world, that they can invite their clients to the show and talk, rather than just about work all the time, they could talk about art and what art makes them feel. I mean, some of these shows I've done, the sponsors end up talking really in depth about the work. They're interested, they're almost like they don't know anything often. So as an artist, you have the opportunity to talk about your work with a new audience that you never would have come across, and you have to talk about it in a fresh way and be adaptable. And I think being adaptable, adaptability is a key word when you're thinking about art and business, because you want to be able to adapt to your environment, whatever that might be for you as an artist. So for me, with this show, it's a local space. I'm looking to adapt to that and kind of meet the community and hopefully generate some exciting relationships. So artists have many different hats, particularly if they're self-employed working on their own, like me. I don't necessarily have different hats, I have different hairstyles. If you've ever seen me with crazy curly hair, I'm obviously in a deeply creative moment. If you've got very slick hair, it's very straight, it's very streamlined, I've got loads of stuff to do. I need to be very business-like Jessie, and that's my mood at the moment. The different hats are for different times of your practice. Sometimes it's okay to just make. Other times it has to be more about structuring your social media, updating your website, your price lists, thinking about how you market yourself. Also being aware that your art has value. You're creating a body of work which also exists outside of yourself as an artist the moment you put it out there, because you want to have people invest in it. Collections can invest in artwork as well, not just individuals. It can be kind of bought by a collection which then retain the artwork for kind of the future. If you think about oil paint can last for hundreds of years. So when we're long dead, our artwork will remain. So we're creating a legacy. And that's, I think, why some people do invest in the art world, because it has legacy. It has this idea of existing beyond the artist itself. I mean, Van Gogh, if he was alive now, would be a millionaire. Poor man had nothing when he was alive. Nobody ever bought one of his paintings. So just goes to show you how with time and perspective, artwork can kind of go on its own journey. And that's what I'm hoping this exhibition will give me. A lot of these works I'm hoping will sell and go forward onto their own journeys beyond me as a painter. That's probably the last thing I'll say before we close this video, is that it's really good not to be too possessive of your paintings. I love clearing my work out, letting it go, being sold, moving forward. I don't hold on to my paintings because I think that can make you stagnate as an artist and almost make you more fearful about having your work out there. It's really a good mindset to practice letting your work go. So thanks so much for watching this week's episode of Art Life. Don't forget to like and subscribe this video or leave a comment below. You can follow me on @JessOliverArt for more updates on this journey, and I will see you next Monday. Bye guys.